Taurus, welcome to your April 2022 reading. Well, okay, we're starting off with the Six of Wands in reverse. So as we continue to shuffle and find some cards, we're going to talk about the astrology, but I would like to remind you at the beginning of this reading that this is Jungian Tarot, where we use the archetypes found in these images, much as Carl Jung did, to find out more about ourselves and understand ourselves better. The astrology being our guide to understanding the cycles and seasons that we all experience, and the archetypes helping us find our way through those cycles. All right, so let's start with the Six of Wands in reverse. Mars is going to move into Pisces on April 15th. And for many of us, including someone who is slow and deliberate in their actions, it's going to feel like Six of Wands in reverse. Taurus takes its time, but when they put their foot down, they want to see some movement, some action, some results. Mars in Pisces can be very elusive. The results are bigger than you think. The results are going to take another sort of timetable altogether. If you feel like you can get from where you are right now to where you want to go in one straight line, it's not going to happen. For one thing, you, Taurus, have a solar eclipse in your sign on April 30th. So in a way, you're spending the month working up to this enormous rebirth. But at the new moon on Friday, we have one of the luckiest days of the year. So if you were to get out of the rat race, stop pushing yourself so hard in terms of work, in terms of the practical, you may find that if you go from the new moon to the solar eclipse with this mindset of something bigger than what you can work for, wishing for something that is beyond the material. So for example, instead of wishing for wealth, wishing for prestige and honor. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a more existential conversation that you're having with the universe right now. But if you fail to see it that way, you miss an opportunity to do some very interesting psychic work and to go through this rebirth with your eyes open instead of being dragged through kicking and screaming. You can miss, if you don't know this, you can miss this and you can become lethargic and mad at yourself. Why can't I make myself do anything? Why am I feeling so stuck? It's Aries season. I'm supposed to know what I want to do, but look at that Six of Wands. It's telling you already. Venus moves into Pisces on the 5th, so in just a few days, and then Mars on the 15th. Nothing then moves the way you want it to, regardless of where the sun is, right? Because Mars is the one giving us that driving energy. And as soon as it enters Pisces, it doesn't know which direction to go in. It'll pick up speed this way and that way and this way and that way. And to you, that's just, just thinking about it. It's like motion sickness, right? It's very unpleasant. So instead of getting caught in the whiplash and getting motion sick, realize it now. Give yourself until the 15th to do anything that requires a lot of forward moving focus. And then as of the 15th, cut yourself a little bit of slack. Maybe do a bit of existential soul searching. Get a little bit philosophical. Write some stuff down at the new moon, stuff you want to bring forth into your life. Again, we're thinking in big terms. We're dreaming big. And then let the second half of the month unfold instead of trying to direct it. because it's very obvious that directing it is not easy, and trying to force it may give you a diminished sense of self for no reason. You know, you don't need to do this to yourself. Just don't push after the 15th, because there's nowhere to go, is the point. Now, between April 7th and the 17th, you have this Jupiter-Neptune set of conjunctions. So as much as right now it may not seem like a priority, a week from now, well, first of all, things can change very drastically from minute to minute, day to day. But about a week from now, as these conjunctions begin, you really start to think about your emotional life. You start to think about how funny it is, how much your tastes continue to evolve and change. How the more you see yourself in this loving, positive light, the more this, what's supposed to be uncomfortable light, especially this Pisces, Jupiter, Mars business, is shining on you, the more you like it. It's not making you uncomfortable. You're growing and you're evolving second by second, especially when it comes to who you're attracted to and why and how you feel about yourself, because we know those things are so closely linked, right? You're coming to all sorts of conclusions about how you were parented and what was left out and what you have a hard time seeing in people and what you have a hard time identifying as red flags. You're doing a lot of work, whether you mean to or not. Some of you are like, yeah, I'm not even trying to. It just keeps coming up on my TikTok. I know. So you're serious. You're serious about, you know, doing the work and about your emotional life and about not necessarily your love life, which is a huge change as well. You're not really worried about your love life. You're worried about your emotional life. In other words, your spiritual life, right? It's the same. So one of the things that we don't want to do, okay, is start to feel really good and get back into that habit of doing all the heavy lifting. If you come across somebody right now that really gets your fire going, that's great. Let me just give you the secret to making it worth something instead of it blowing up in your face. Do nothing. Don't do any heavy lifting whatsoever. Initiate nothing. If they are anything more than a passing fling that will only hurt you, they will make the effort. If they don't make the effort, do nothing. Everything you do to try to pick up the slack or make up the difference right now will set the tone for what will be moving forward, just a mirror of how you behave right now. You got me? Good. Don't go overboard. There's no reason. Feeling good doesn't have to be tantamount to going overboard. You don't have to get extra, super special generous just because you feel better or because you feel like you have a handle on something or you feel very capable. High self-esteem with Tauruses and being overly generous is a thing. You know that, right? It's like when you start to feel really, really, really good about yourself, like you're giving away too much, just pull it back. Giving away too much energy, too many emotions, too much money. Just pull it back, please. Just pull all of it back a little bit. It's not about not being generous. It's about like boundaries. It's about boundaries, okay? All right, let's keep going. So, no matter how perfect this person seems to you, it's just your vision. You know, again, it's I'll refer you back to that Chris Rock joke. If you're starving, a saltine tastes like a steak dinner. Like, it's not the way it seems. And if it is anything more than that, they will show you. All you have to do is sit back and watch. Whether you like them, you love them, you're obsessed with them, you can't get enough of them, you just met them, but you think they're your soul flame, twin, mate, whatever the fuck, let them do it. If they're all those things, you can't possibly fuck it up anyway, right? This is the logic I always fall back on with people who are like, no, but this person is my person. Okay, well then you can't possibly screw it up. So just relax. Do nothing. For more information on this, see the extended from last month where I'm still telling you not to do anything. And if you've listened up until now and have not buckled, you see what I'm saying? You see how you feel right now? It's a good feeling, right? In reality, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to, want to be around you and you want to be around them. But look what happens when you start doing the communicating. Oh, all that immature, childish stuff and the stuff they can tell you and lie to you about and make you believe, look, just look at how quickly we fall down this rabbit hole. Do you see this? I'm like investigative journalism camera working this. It deserves it. BBC, bitch. Look at this. Just don't do any of the heavy lifting. Just remember what I'm saying for all of April. Also, happy birthday. Just remember what I'm saying. Okay? If you do the heavy lifting, if you make the effort, you will talk yourself into a set of hopes and dreams that are based in nothing. You will not be able to say this person sold me this dream or that dream or deceived me. It's you that will be doing it. And it's you that will be hurt by it. Okay? So let's just not do it. Let's let other people do the work. Yeah. Ooh, what a concept, right? Let's let other people do the work. Try that on. Say it a couple of times to yourself. Let's see how it feels. Menial work, obviously not the real work. Nobody can do that but you, right? We'll talk about that later. Now, even if you are single right now though, even if this crush thing gets on top of your head for a couple of weeks and then you're over it, the cool thing is you emotionally feel better. And that's really nice. And Venus in Pisces is kind of nice when you emotionally feel better, The love songs, you're listening to the lyrics anymore instead of melting into a puddle of pain. You know what I mean? Like things are better. You feel better. And you're continuing in your wonderful, steady, incrementally aggressive way. Your aggression in these tiny, tiny increments. It's just so effective. You've made so much progress just by being steady and slow. And you know what they say, or as Phil Dunphy says, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And you've mastered that, especially when it comes to being okay with yourself and being okay emotionally, whether you're in or out of a relationship. You've learned to see yourself outside of what other people think of you. And I think it's been a really long journey. Many of you who have been with me since we started the channel will remember that about 6 years ago, things were really tough. But they were tough in a way where it seemed like you couldn't get out. It was tough, but there was also this sense of captivity. And now, all these years later, it's incredible to see how a determined effort, a persistent push in a specific direction can create such lasting and impressive change. I mean, night and day. Whereas then you were battling it out with the whole world because everyone was just bearing down on you, using you up. Now you're having, quite lofty problems in comparison. You're thinking about meaning and contentment and fulfillment. Your problems have become more philosophical as your life has made more and more sense. As you've taken on these challenges of, you know, not seeking validation from the external and finding true bliss in being on your own, and losing perhaps sources of immense power in your life, whether it's a parent or a partner or a job that gave you an identity. You've traversed all of these obstacles with a quiet class, is the only way I can put it. You're the dark horse. You're doing the work. You're doing it quietly, but you're having so much fun doing it. And that's just in the background. That's just happening while all this emotional growth is going on at the same time. There's so much to be proud of. There's so much to take in and, well, to take in and feel worthy because of. And that worthiness should translate into you looking around at people and noticing perhaps that some people are just taking a lot from you. And some of those people might be people who are very close to you, people you've known for a very long time. And it may hit you like a ton of bricks, especially around that solar eclipse, that they have just been, in some cases, robbing you blind. Whether it's money or energy or just lying to you and taking you out of opportunities, things that just you would never think that a friend would do. If you feel that sort of strangeness, you know, where you're like, this person's not really my friend, they're taking from me, I can feel it. If you feel this, don't make any sudden moves. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't let them know that you know. Don't throw the subs. Don't do any of this stuff. Don't like act out on social media. Be quiet. Be quiet and move on. It's the best thing you could do. Listen, they did what they did, right? And you let them, right? So what are you going to do? Now, like I said, the 7th to the 17th, you have this Jupiter-Neptune conjunctions, right? So money is so much better than you thought it was going to be. And it's like, it's just all like accumulating behind the door, you know? And then all of a sudden, between the 7th and the 17th, it starts to really pour in. And you're like, oh my God, I thought things were maybe going to get bad. But no, it actually looks like I'm doing pretty well. I feel like I'm on top of the world. What? Yeah. So that's great. Something to look forward to. And also if you were starting to, you know, do the stress thing because the month is starting and what happened. Don't. Everything, inshallah, is going to be fine. Now, let's continue. I have flipped the page in my notes. Now, what I would like to call this reading is Who is True? And then the word eclipse with an exclamation point. Yes, because I'm a fan of French cinema, but also I just really like the way it looks. You'll see it in the title and be like, yeah, I get it. You know what the big thing is with this eclipse? This solar eclipse, look at it, look at it. This is why you gotta love it. You gotta love how everything ties together. It's because it's really gonna show you who your real friends are. The thing is, and you're not gonna wanna hear this, but you're really easy to lie to. Probably because you're really good at lying yourself. And that means that you come across people who are also really good at lying. The point is, you can be gullible, especially when you trust people. No need to get defensive, especially when you trust people or you're attracted to them. They can lie to you and you'll probably buy it. Even if you don't buy it, you'll probably buy it, which might be worse. But we don't have to get into that right now. You're easier to lie to now than you are probably for the rest of the year. You're very gullible and vulnerable right now to your connections, especially people who you trust. So you got to get real careful. Who do you really trust? You need to go to them and make it clear that perhaps your compass is a little off this month. And you might need a little help discerning between what's what. Which is funny because I just did the Aries video and it's so much about discernment. And your reading is so much about needing other people's discernment. Because there are a couple of chances this month that you'll get swept off your feet, either by, you know, a good-looking stranger or some sort of money scheme or just the amount of money, inshallah, that's coming in. There are a couple of things that can knock you off balance in kind of a good way, but you still need someone to steady the boat. And that has to be somebody you trust. And it has to be somebody that you can talk to about your other friends and be like, I don't think I trust this person anymore. Or I think this person's taking advantage of me. And you know whoever that person is for you, you know that already. You're thinking of that person already in your head. You know, there's like friends and then there's like the friend. Go to the friend, unless it's the friend who is taking advantage of you. In which case, you're going to have to keep your own company and you're going to have to be honest with yourself and let that person go. Because the thing is, if it's you or me, it's me, right? Isn't that the Taurus attitude? Well, you got to remember that. Even when you love somebody. I know. Okay, now let's talk about the vibes. Because I made a section called vibes. Do you not believe me? Should I show it to you? Look at this. Vibes. Okay, let me read you the vibes. So, when the sun enters your sign, it's like gravity takes over. We go from this cardinal fire to this fixed earth. And all of a sudden, everything feels more grounded and you feel safe again. You feel secure and it feels like after a long time, well, after a year, you're back in your cozy, flowering, constantly changing and growing element. See, a lot of times people confuse your love of comfort with some sort of staleness or laziness. Of course, there is an element of the languid to you, but fixed earth is anything but lazy, anything but stale. It's constantly being born and dying and blooming and falling and growing and shedding, fruiting and blossoming. Your season is glorious, as are you in your season. So when you start to feel that security take over you and you start to feel this kind of warm embrace of the sun in your sign, I think you'll feel a sense of independence that perhaps you haven't yet ever keyed into. That's also why it's so important to be honest with yourself about your friends. You have people around you that may be taking away from your independence. And they may not even mean to be doing you any harm. But it doesn't matter what the crutch's intention is. If you don't need it, it's still debilitating you. It's still making you weak. No matter what its intentions, you understand? So, if it's that, excuse me, true independence that we're looking for, that we can very easily, to be frank, find around the solar eclipse, then it's important that your mind and your soul be clear of this stuff. It's important that you walk through this with only the good people and the right people, no matter how hurtful that may be. You can't take anyone on the journey you're about to go on if you don't trust them, Taurus. No matter how heartbreaking that is to you, be realistic. They're not even a tenth as harmful as they'll be when you're 100 times bigger than you are now, inshallah. You know that. You know that. All right. Now let's get to the fun stuff. So the eclipse, the solar eclipse in your sign, is also about redefining your image. You get to the bottom of this stuff, you know? You figure out who the thieves are. You do some introspection. You figure out who's not for you. And with this new understanding and this new success and this new money coming in, of course we need a new image. We need a new look, maybe a new hair color, maybe a new style. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that generosity thing, give to the people who deserve it. Give to the people who brought you into this world. Give to the people who took care of you and, you know, your caregivers. Give to the people that look up to you, people who are dependent on you. Be generous with the right people, the people who deserve it. Not the people who couldn't even begin to understand the quality of what you're giving them. We're done with all that, right? And I'm so proud of you, and here we are. Another trip around the sun. Happy birthday. I love you so much. Oh, and if you haven't gone and seen the Batman yet, can you please go fucking rep for your Taurus king and go see fucking Batman, please? Because, woo, you will not be disappointed. Love you.